Long time no see, my peeps. This podcast is going to be on Algebra Nation, created, designed by Gatorland, the University of Florida. We'll cover workbook pages 23 through 25. So here we go. Don't be slow.
We're now going to take relations to the next level. We're going to talk about functions. So we're going to see this relationship is a function. A function is a special type of relation where every x gives you one y. We have points or a chart. You look at the x to determine if the relation is a function. If every x is different, it is a function. So if you notice, what are we focusing on? The x's, like x marking the spot. For example, is this set of points a function? Or better yet, let's look at it this way. Are these set of points a function? So if you notice, we've got 0.5, negative 3, 3, 4, 2, 7, 0, 7. I just called out all the different x values. Remember, it's x comma y. But if you notice, the 7's appeared twice. So therefore, this relation is not a function. The answer to this question is going to be no, it is not a function. Because again, we had 7 appear twice. It can only appear once. If every x is different, it is a function. But since it wasn't, it is not a function. Next up, let's look at a chart. Is this chart a function? Check the appropriate box. If you notice, this is not labeled x and y. But you have to realize that the first column is x, the second column is going to be your y. What are we looking at? X. Remember, we're looking at x to see if this chart will be a function. Looking at the x's. 6, 5, 10, 2, 13. They're all different. So yes, this is a function. Be careful though. If you looked at the y's by mistake, 34, 23, 43, 25, 23, you might have been mistaken and been, oh wait, these are not different. But remember, a function is based on the x's, not the y. So be careful about that. That's how they can get you to get the wrong answer. Then we have a graph. And with a graph, we're going to use something called the vertical line test. For any vertical line that you draw, that line can only touch the graph one time. Any more, and it's not a function. Because that would be 2 x's for 1 y. And we'll see that in just a minute. So for example here, are the following relations also functions? Let's start with this graph. Or better yet, let's look at it like this. So we've got our graph coming on in, and we're going to start raining down vertical lines. And if you notice, it only hits it once every single time. Since it only hits it once every single time, that means yes, this is a function. Now, you don't get a cool computer graphic. You're going to have to do this yourself. You're going to have to draw vertical lines and see that it only hits one time every time. We'll look at this next one. If I start drawing a vertical line, that only hits once. But the first time it hits more than once, that is not a function. We can relate this back to points. Check this out. If I actually was to list this coordinate, this is roughly negative 4, 0. And this coordinate looks like it's about negative 4, negative 5. An approximation here. If you notice, the reason why the vertical line test tells you if it's a function or not is this vertical line hit this graph 2 times, and the x's are not all different. We got 2 of them that were the same. That is why the vertical line test works. Because again, we had a vertical line that shows that we have the same x for 2 different y's. Not all the x's were different. We got 2 x's for 1 y. Now, if you guys try the next 2, hit the pause button. Just a second, and see if you can try out these 2 problems. Is this a function? Yes or no? Just start drawing vertical lines. Automatically, right? It is not a function. No. It failed the vertical line test. It hit it more than once. This next one. It's only hit it at one time. You should go all the way through, though. And if you do, you notice it keeps on hitting the graph just one time. So yes, this one is a function. So if you're ready now for all the different ideas that we have done so far for a function, it's that time.
I thought he asked you if you were ready for a brain break. In case the soccer players couldn't find where the goal's at. Thinking we should look into hiring these people for the Cubs. They might be able to tell them where they can hit the home run over the fence. Nice. You also could hire them if you work for the San Francisco 49ers. They could point to where the open receiver is for Colin Kaepernick. Ouch.
Let's beat that test. What point could be added to the following sentence so it remains a function? Remember, a function, what are you looking at? The x's. So here I'm looking at 3, 6, 2, and 8. So ready? A has 6, but we already have a 6. And remember, every x has to be different. It can't be A. B has an x coordinate of 3. We already have a 3. It cannot be B. C, the x coordinate is 9. 3, 6, 2, 8. It's different. This is probably the answer, but let's check one more. 8, we already have 8, and the answer is C. Let's do one more. Which of the following graphs represents a function? So remember, for a graph, what are you going to use? The vertical line test. For this first one, automatically fails a vertical line test. Next up, let's see. Hits it one time, one time, one time, one time, one. The answer is probably B, but let's check the last two here. C? There we go. It hits twice. It's not a function. D? Once, once, once. If it only hits once, I would recommend going all the way through because if you notice over here, I went all the way through and hit it one time. If I keep on going, once, 3 times. It has to be only once the whole way through. Again, it has to be once the whole way through. In fact, I would actually call that that was necessary. That's my tip for you. You have to go all the way through. So again, if it hits only once the whole way through, then yes, it is a function. But if one time, in this case, it happened one time, it doesn't, it is not a function. So again, with functions, what are you concerned with? The x's. Make sure the x's are all different. And for a graph, you've got the vertical line test.
As always, thanks for watching. Make sure you get your work checked off. Later, alligator. In a while, crocodile.